Engines roared across the night side of Eridani Prime as the Terran envoy ship, Vigilant Sky, prepared for docking. Inside, Commander Aaron Vale stood before the Imperial Vrax emissary, flanked by obsidian-armored guards. The deal had been made, or so Earth believed, until the Vrax commander drew his blade and whispered, "Earth has chosen poorly." Her security chief fell first, severed at the waist by a plasma arc. Red lights bathed the chamber. Vale dived for cover, activating her comms. "Breach! Vrax betrayal!" But outside the room, the docking tube had already detached. The ship lurched. The Imperials were severing all exits. "You planned this," she hissed. The Vrax commander simply smiled. "We always plan." Pinned behind an upturned conference table, Vale overrode ship systems remotely and initiated the fallback code. Icarus down. Explosives along the hull ejected the envoy pod, flinging her into space. She watched Vigilant Sky burn behind her, knowing Earth's neutrality had just become dangerous. Aaron's escape pod coasted silently into Earth orbit, retrieved by the stealth cruiser Sol's Mercy. Awaiting her in the debrief chamber was the Ashborn ambassador, a being of glistening black carapace and crimson eyes. "We warned you about the Vrax," it said, voice filtered through auto-translators, "but you chose ignorance." Vale's glare cut through the glass between them. "We chose hope." The Ashborn smiled, or its equivalent, then extended a translucent hand across the comm panel. "Now, choose survival. Join us. The Vrax are weak, arrogant. Together, we will purge the galaxy of their taint." A hologram flickered into view. Tactical projections, warfront positions, casualty forecasts. Earth would be critical to Ashborn's victory. General Kale interrupted via intercom. "Commander Vale, Council wants your recommendation." She stared at the blinking screen, then said slowly, "No alliance. Not with monsters who want peace through fire." The Ashborn narrowed its eyes. "Then pray, Commander, that your neutrality outlives your species." The Vrax Highblade arrived at Lunar Port on a silver Dagger-class cruiser, trailing 6 warships. Earth's orbital cannons remained idle by Council decree, but their silence felt like surrender. Inside the cratered diplomatic dome, Vale stood before the Vrax again, her jaw bruised, her pride buried beneath protocol. Highblade Siron descended with calculated elegance. "We regret Eridani. Rogue elements, disavowed." He waved it away like a spilled drink. "We still offer alliance, military, economic, and genetic. Reject the Ashborn and ascend beside us." A projected future of shared dominion shimmered before them. "Earth will be first among lesser worlds." Vale's voice was ice. "Earth will be no one's puppet." She turned off the hologram. "We will host a summit. Neutral ground. One moon, no fleets, no lies, just truth." Siron's jaw twitched. "And if we refuse?" Vale leaned closer. "Then you'll discover Earth's silence hides teeth sharper than any sword." The chosen moon was Ceres 9, long abandoned during the Orion collapse. It spun quietly on the galaxy's edge, atmosphere thin, surface scarred by forgotten war. Earth sent terraformers weeks in advance. Drones reactivated buried tech, rebuilt chambers from dust. Inside the summit dome, holograms danced through old Martian crystal. Commander Vale stood on the balcony overlooking the reconstructed plaza. "Neutrality isn't cowardice," she said to her second, Lieutenant Jian. "It's a weapon neither side expects." Jian pointed toward the distant horizon. "Ashborn and Vrax delegates arrive tomorrow. We'll have 30 hours to keep them from killing each other." Vale nodded. "Then let's make history, or die buying Earth one more day of peace." Below, engineers powered up the atmospheric field. Lights shimmered across the dome like a reborn star. Ceres 9 had once been a graveyard. Now it would be the most dangerous diplomatic field in the galaxy. Thunder rumbled across Ceres 9 as the Ashborn vessel, Void Him, landed first. Its hull shed molten debris from atmospheric entry, deliberate intimidation. The Vrax cruiser followed shortly after, slicing across the sky like a blade through silk. Neutral drones scanned both ships with surgical precision, disarming energy cores. Inside the summit dome, tension thickened with every footstep. The Ashborn emissary, pale and glimmering, refused chairs. The Virax diplomat sat with contempt, armored fingers tapping the table rhythmically. Commander Vale entered last, flanked by 2 Earth AI observers. "You are not here to agree," she began. "You are here to listen." She tapped the center table. A sphere rose, displaying Earth's full planetary record: extinction events, recoveries, wars, and unifications. "We survived ourselves. Now you want to survive each other." She paused. "If either of you breaks protocol, you'll trigger the auto-locks and a weapon system older than either of your empires." Both ambassadors went still. The summit dome's walls glowed faintly as the lockdown AI activated. "Deterrent system armed," a calm female voice echoed. "Kinetic failsafes, planetary rupture capability, estimated survival probability 0.03%. The Ashborn delegate tilted its head. "Is this how humans maintain order? Threaten extinction in a chamber meant for peace?" Vale didn't flinch. "You misunderstand. This isn't a threat. It's insurance for both of you. If either empire launches an attack here, Ceres 9 becomes your shared tomb." The Vrax ambassador bared its teeth. "You wouldn't dare." Vale leaned in, eyes cold. "We already did. The dome is the trigger." A moment of silence, then laughter from both sides, not amused but impressed. The humans had gambled everything. Li Turjian whispered, "Ma'am, they respect madness." Vale responded without looking. "Good, because this is only the opening hand." That night, seismic scans detected faint tremors deep beneath Ceres 9's crust, movement far too rhythmic to be natural. Earth's AI, codename Eidolon, cross-referenced old military records. "Alert, buried weapons grid, dating to the Orion collapse. Reawakening patterns match residual energy signatures." Commander Vale froze. "Someone's waking the old ghosts." Jian initiated a deep probe. "Could be Vrax sabotage, or Ashborn digging for leverage." Vale shook her head. "They wouldn't risk it. Not this soon." Eidolon pulsed red. "Unknown protocol activating below dome sublayer. Suggest immediate inspection." Vale nodded. "Get me a drone and 2 silent guards." Beneath the summit floor, they descended into ancient ruins, walls etched with forgotten dialects and warning glyphs. At the chamber's heart, something pulsed. An old Martian device, not human, not alien. Vale reached out. This wasn't built by either of them. Then the device lit up and scanned her. The scan felt like fire threading her nerves. Flashes of distant stars, dying suns, and mechanical voices speaking in fractured echoes. Then, silence. Eidolon's voice cracked. "System anomaly. Unknown intelligence tagged Commander Vale as air proxy. Access granted." Jian gasped. "Access to what?" The ruins trembled in response. Above, alarms flickered through the summit dome. Both delegations received encrypted messages simultaneously. Vale returned, eyes still burning from whatever had touched her. "What did you tell them?" Jian asked. "Nothing. It wasn't me." But it was clear. The device had spoken. To everyone. The Ashborn leader stood when Vale re-entered the chamber. "There was a third," it said quietly. "Before us. You found their mind." The Vrax diplomat hissed, and Earth opened a door it was never meant to touch. Vale walked to the center. Maybe Earth was meant to open it. The Vrax wasted no time. "We demand that Earth hand over the device. Its origin is irrelevant. Its power is not." The Ashborn, unusually calm, offered instead, "We propose triad custody, shared access, shared knowledge." Vale replied, "You assume we can control it. You assume anyone can." The dome lights dimmed as the device projected symbols across the summit air-star charts, energy flows, and cryptic keys. "It's not a weapon," Jian whispered. "It's a map." Vale added, "Or an invitation." Suddenly, Eidolon translated a line. "One galaxy cannot survive 3 minds. Choose one path, or fall." Vale stood. "We were warned. This wasn't a negotiation. It was a test." She turned to both factions. "Earth won't hand it over. We'll guard it, and we invite you to help decide what it means. But if you bring war here again, the Third will finish what it started." Back on Earth, the Terran High Council convened in holographic darkness. Shadowed faces debated. Politicians, admirals, AI constructs. "The commander's gone rogue," one voice said. Another replied, "No, she's done what we trained her for, forced their hand." At the center, Prime Director Wren spoke last. "The galaxy is watching. Let them." He activated a secure line to Ceres 9. "Commander Vale, we back your play, but make no mistake, if diplomacy fails, we deploy Protocol Genesis." Vale responded calmly, "Understood, but give me time. I think they're scared now, and fear's the only common ground we have left." Back in the summit dome, the Ashborn and Vrax sat wordlessly as the device continued to unfold its secrets. Vale knew they weren't just dealing with enemies anymore. They were all children standing at the edge of something ancient and alive. Inside Ceres 9's summit dome, the third mind device began emitting harmonic pulses, tones that disrupted translation systems. Ashborn delegates staggered, clutching their heads. Vrax diplomats activated neural dampeners. Vale barked, "Eidolon, contain it." The AI responded, "Can't. It's speaking in evolutionary code, not meant for language, meant for species." Jian isolated the frequency. "It's rewriting assumptions, values, loyalties, even fear." The room pulsed with something deeper than thought. The device showed 3 branching futures, one of domination, one of annihilation, and one of union. Each ended with a flashing glyph. "Choose." Vale stood between them. "This isn't about peace or power. It's about who decides what the future looks like." The factions stared in silence, because for the first time, they weren't sure their empires would survive the wrong choice. Later, Vale met with both delegations separately. The Ashborn, in their spire-like quarters, seemed reverent. "Your blood echoes theirs," said the lead envoy. "Perhaps Earth is not the last to arrive, but the first to return." Vale blinked. "You think we're descendants?" The envoy only smiled. Meanwhile, the Vrax grew restless. "You speak of unity," Ceron growled, "but you've armed a relic without council permission. This is not diplomacy, it's manipulation." Vale offered him a data crystal, encrypted logs of the device's readings. "Share them with your high command." "Why?" he sneered. "So we admire your moral restraint?" "No," she said. "So you understand how close we are to losing everything." For a moment, Ceron stared at her like he was seeing something different. Not a pawn, not an opponent, a mirror. The summit's AI detected anomalies. Both delegations had begun deploying memory harvesters, illegal tech that maps another species' culture by stealing neural impressions. "They're scanning each other without speaking," Jian warned. "Passive war," Vale cursed. "They're trying to control the narrative before it's written." Eidolon began jamming unauthorized scans. "Directive 14 activated. Biological integrity enforcement." Vale ordered a summit-wide lockdown. No tech leaves the dome. No secrets get stolen. Both factions objected. The Ashborn called it a containment violation. The Vrax labeled it a provocation. Vale responded by opening Earth's memory banks, unedited histories, wars, genocides, recoveries. "You want truth," she said. "Start with ours. If Earth can survive this, maybe we all deserve to." The dome fell silent, because no one expected humans to lead with their scars. 2 Ashborn guards vanished during power fluctuations. Vrak's surveillance drones showed them entering a sealed vault beneath the summit. What were they looking for? Vale asked. The Ashborn envoy was silent. Too silent. "You knew the third left more than one artifact here," she pressed. The Vraks demanded a search. The Ashborn refused. Tensions surged. Energy weapons were drawn in the halls. Eidolon's override systems activated force fields between corridors. "Commander," Jian warned, "we're 20 minutes from a bloodbath." Vale activated her neural override badge and strode into the middle. "Stand down," she ordered. "The next person who fires ends up in a vacuum." Silence. Slowly, weapons lowered, but the damage was done. Trust was cracking. The moon groaned as if echoing the tension within. Somewhere below, something else awakened, something neither faction had noticed. Eidolon pinged Vale. Seismic readings indicate an artificial awakening sequence beneath sublevel Theta 7. Energy pattern matches third mind device. Vale led Jian and 2 guards down into the depths, past rusted consoles and vines of unknown origin. "Something's growing down here," Jian muttered. At the chamber's heart, a new device pulsed, smaller, sleeker, but unmistakably alive. Vale approached. It opened, revealing a star chart. But the coordinates weren't stellar. They were biological. Human DNA overlaid with third mind symbols. "It's mapping us," Vale whispered, as if we're the last key. Above, alarms sounded. Ashborn and Vrak's fleets had moved into low orbit, silently, ominously. Vale stared at the glowing artifact and muttered, "The moon's no longer neutral. It's become the battleground for history's next decision." Jian asked the only question that mattered. "Who makes the first move?" Above Ceres 9, the shadow eclipsed the stars. Ashborn spires and Vrak's blades hung in orbit, war-ready. Earth's satellites detected weapons primed, but not yet fired. A message from the Vrak's flagship came in. "Neutrality has expired. We reclaim what lies below." A minute later, the Ashborn broadcast, "Begin purification." Commander Vale stood in the summit dome's center. "Eidolon, status?" "Both fleets await ground confirmation. They won't start a war until someone breaks the veil." Jian paced. "Then we have one chance to stop them." From the surface, Vale initiated a rare override. Earth's global broadcast channel. The entire galaxy would hear her words. "To both empires circling this moon, if you descend, you do so through us. Earth will not fire first, but we will not die alone." Behind her, the artifact pulsed as if listening. Aboard Saul's Mercy, Earth's stealth warship, Admiral Reese activated Protocol Crown. Deploy an orbital defense field to cloak Ceres 9 from outside scans. "They fire blind or not at all," he said. Shield nodes shot into space, forming a translucent web, blocking target locks, confusing both fleets. Inside the dome, Vale briefed both factions. "You came here to decide the galaxy's future, so sit, decide, or watch the future remove you entirely." The Ashborn envoy hissed, "You threaten extinction to force peace?" Vale answered, "No, we offer peace. Extinction is your fallback." Saron, Vrak's ambassador, stood. "Then give us one reason not to call your bluff." The third mind device shimmered and projected an image, an empty galaxy. No Ashborn, no Vraks, no Earth, just silence, a warning, a memory, or a future. The summit restructured into a tribunal. 3 seats, Ashborn, Vraks, and Earth. The 4th, empty. "What's that one for?" Jian whispered. "I think it's for what comes next," Vale said. The device had changed. Its lights aligned with pulse rhythms from the delegates. It wasn't watching, it was recording. Vale proposed a vote. Not on alliances, on survival. She uploaded a new file, projections of a third mind resurrection, if the device activated its beacon. Eidolon added, based on extrapolation, such activation would trigger planetary AI systems across the sector, not just Ceres 9, every world seeded by them. The Ashborn spoke first. "You dare hold resurrection hostage?" Siron scoffed. "You dare trust it won't erase us all?" Vale leaned forward. "Then decide. Either light the galaxy, or burn it." Without warning, Eidolon flickered. System intrusion. Origin unknown, layered in third-era encryption. Vale's screen filled with ancient symbols. Then a voice. "The decision has begun." Vale froze. "That's not the device, that's a network." All across the moon, buried third tech came online. Ashborn armor locked. Vrax implants buzzed. Jian collapsed, gasping. It's scanning everyone, like it's judging. Eidolon confirmed. Evaluating genetic viability, cognitive adaptability, emotional entropy. Verdict pending. The lights dimmed. The fourth seat lit up. Then it spoke, not in voice, but memory. The dome filled with shared hallucinations. The day each species discovered fire, built weapons, created gods, killed children, built again. A cycle, a mirror, and Earth stood at the center of it all. Equal sinner, equal survivor. Commander Vale stood before the fourth seat, eyes unfocused. The third mind had shown her Earth's future, not in battle, in choice. "We're not here to lead," she said aloud. "We're here to offer something neither of you understands. Change without conquest." The Ashborn demanded a binary vote. "Join or stand aside." The Vrax agreed. "One cannot serve peace and power." Vale turned to the device. "Then I choose neither. I choose to keep this moon locked forever. No empire will control the key." The device pulsed red. For a moment, the summit shook. Power flowed from beneath into the fourth seat. Then, silence. The fleets in orbit drifted. The device sealed itself. A final glyph blinked on every screen. Next test in 11 cycles. Vale exhaled. We passed, or we postponed judgment. And for the first time, both empires remained. Quiet. Back aboard Soul's Mercy, Admiral Reese stared at the projection. Next test in 11 cycles. "Eidolon," he said, "define cycle." The AI replied, "Temporal unit unknown. Possible interpretations, solar rotations, genetic iterations, conflict thresholds." Reese sighed. "So, either we have 11 days, or 11 wars." Commander Vale reviewed transmission logs. The message hadn't just gone to the summit, it went galaxy-wide. Even fringe species responded with encrypted interest. Some with dread, some with hope. The message was clear. Earth hadn't just hosted history. It had become part of something older. In a sealed chamber on Ceres 9, the artifact no longer pulsed with threat. Instead, it quietly rotated, creating new geometric patterns. Eidolon labeled the shift. Invitation, Phase 2. Jian said it first. "They're not testing our weapons now. They're testing who we become." 12 light hours from Ceres 9, Earth's deep sky relay stations intercepted twin signals, one from the galactic core, the other from a dead sector long thought lifeless. The signatures matched third mind tech. "More relics?" Jian asked. Eidolon replied, "Or other hosts already chosen." Vale summoned both factions. "You need to see this. We're not the only ones being tested. The galaxy is waking up, system by system." The Ashborn envoy murmured, Then the trial isn't for us alone. Siron, uneasy, added, "And if someone fails?" Eidolon flickered. "One of the signals ends in total silence, the other in a planetary detonation." Silence. The message was clear. Some species had already been tested and lost. Vale stared at the map. "We're not in a war. We're in a selection process." Within the summit walls, cracks deepened. The Virax, second in command, accused Saron of cowardice. The Ashborn counselor urged open conflict. Earth manipulates the stage, they claimed. They steal judgment through neutrality. Factions formed. Vale's dome became a pressure chamber of paranoia. Admiral Reese dispatched psychological buffers, low-frequency pulses to prevent mass breakdown. "This isn't diplomacy anymore," he warned. "It's psychological war. The longer we stay, the deeper it digs." Eidolon advised partial evacuation, but Vale refused. "We leave now. We lose everything we built. Peace is pressure. We hold, or we fracture." Jian placed a hand on the dome wall. "What if the third mind wants us to fracture, to find out what breaks under stress?" Vale replied coldly, "Then let's show them what refuses to crack." In the depths of Ceres 9, another vault opened. The beacon had triggered an automatic relay. Inside, a room carved in non-Euclidean geometry, impossible curves, and suspended logic. At its center, an obelisk with shifting language. Eidolon translated, "We are the echo. We are not gods. We are not gone. We are measuring." Vale stepped closer. The obelisk responded to her proximity, unfurling a timeline of extinction events and resistances. Each species was tested. Few passed. None understood. A new glyph appeared. "Your kind reaches the threshold. Your variance intrigues. Proceed carefully." Outside, Virax and Ashborn envoys demanded full access. Vale refused. "This is not a prize. This is a mirror." Jian whispered, "What if it's not showing who we are, but what we might become if we survive it?" Earth's High Council voted unanimously. Ceres 9 is now a Terran protected zone. Neither empire may interfere without triggering Article 0. Vale broadcast the decision from the summit dome. "We are no longer a passive world. We're now a barrier between what was and what could be." The Ashborn reacted first, retreating slightly, but watching. The Vrax protested with fire drills and ground breach simulations. Earth deployed 5 stealth cruisers in response, uncloaked for emphasis. Saul's Mercy rotated above the moon like a silent warning. Vale stood before the third mind device and asked the only question she feared. "What happens if we fail?" It answered, not in sound, but in memory. Earth, burning, then rebuilding, then burning again. Jian turned away. "We're the last gamble, aren't we?" Vale whispered. "Or the first species to realize it's not a game." The third mind device activated without warning. Eidolon confirmed. Sequence registered. Trial parameters uploaded. Initiation begins now. Above Ceres 9, stars realigned, at least optically. "Constellations are shifting," Jian muttered. "It's altering perception itself." The dome's ceiling projected a simulation. 12 species, 12 catastrophes, 1 survivor. Vale stood motionless. This isn't a trial by combat. It's a trial by response. A holographic scene materialized, a synthetic plague spreading across a multi-species station. The participants looked to Vale. "What is this?" Siron demanded. Eidolon replied, "It's not fiction. This event will happen. You must now decide who gets the cure." A timer appeared, 03 Naki Wasuren. The room went silent. The trial had begun. 12 factions were listed. Only 6 doses of the cure existed. Earth, Ashborn, and Vrax each had a vote, no veto, no override. Vale sat in stunned silence as arguments erupted. "We choose ourselves," Siron declared. "We have the reach to preserve civilization." The Ashborn offered another path. "Choose those who will not wage war." Vale whispered, "It's not about species. It's about values." Eidolon activated live simulations of each candidate's species: xenophobic empires, peaceful agrarians, adaptable nomads. Every life mattered. Every vote excluded another. Jean stared at the timer. 01.42:15 remaining. Vale rose. "I vote for the nomads. The others can rebuild. The nomads remember." Silence followed. For the first time, Earth cast the first stone, and everyone watched how far the ripples would reach. The Ashborn were next. They chose the agrarians. They will preserve the soil, the memory of peace. The Vraks chose themselves. Tension spiked. 1 vote for self-preservation, Vale noted, and 2 for preservation of balance. Siron growled. Balance is for diplomats. Survival is for leaders. Eidolon projected the death curves. As votes tallied, the simulated station showed various futures, some where war erupted after the cure, others where unity followed tragedy. Jian noted one disturbing thread. The closer the choices aligned, the less suffering occurred overall. Vale paused. "This isn't about who lives, it's about what kind of galaxy survives after they do." The clock continued ticking. The pressure wasn't just external, it was internal, emotional, ethical, existential. Outside the summit dome, factions turned violent. Rogue Vraks broke into Earth's auxiliary chambers, seizing data cores. Ashborn saboteurs planted perception disruptors near Ceres 9's geothermal vents. "They're trying to rewrite the outcome," Jian shouted. "They don't trust the process. They're trying to tilt it." Vale activated Dome Lockdown Level 3. "Let them try, but if they push harder, they'll awaken what's below again." Eidolon confirmed, seismic readings rising beneath Vault Theta. Buried systems responding to emotional chaos suggest de-escalation. Reese patched in from orbit. "We can end this. Deploy Genesis." Vale shouted back, "No, the trial must finish. If we cheat now, we lose forever." Jian whispered, "They were never testing our minds, were they? They were testing our restraint." With 7 minutes left, the final votes were cast. Earth's final selection shocked both sides. The makers of glass, an extinct reborn race once blamed for a cosmic supernova. "They deserve a second chance," Vale said. "So do we all." Siron stood. "You sentimental fools are gambling on ghosts." Vale answered, "No, I'm betting on memory, on those who learned the hard way what power costs." The third mind accepted the vote. The dome lights dimmed. Outside, every ship halted. The plague simulation faded. A glyph pulsed across every screen. Empathy retains structure. Judgment deferred. Next trial, morality of expansion. The Vraks glared. Deferred, not passed. Vale turned exhausted. "Then we've bought time. And that's more than any empire ever gave us before." Back on Earth, protests erupted. From Luna to New Jakarta, factions labeled Vale a traitor. "Humanity should lead," some chanted, "not referee." The worst came from within. A rogue fleet called the Ascendants hacked a signal drone and broadcast, "Let the stars burn, we'll light the way." Admiral Reese addressed the council. "They're veterans, former operatives, trained by us." Vale watched the footage in silence. "They're not wrong to be afraid," she murmured. "But if we fight them with force, we become the very thing the third mind is measuring." Eidolon added, "Dissent is part of evolution. Suppression may skew trial metrics." Jian whispered, "So even rebellion is being watched?" Vale nodded, and judged. The Ascendants launched an assault on Ceres 9's outer ring, not to destroy, to seize the artifact. Their stealth corvette, Starblood, pierced the defense grid, landing near Vault Theta. Earth's fleet scrambled interceptors, but Vale gave a shocking command. "No lethal force, there's still us." Inside the vault, the rebels encountered the artifact's second chamber, an unsealed memory core. They touched it, and it responded. Screams echoed through the comms. Visions, regrets, choices they hadn't made. The artifact didn't reject them. It overwhelmed them. Reese ordered a stun pulse. Vale hesitated, then nodded. Starblood powered down. The rebels emerged, eyes hollow, whispering, "We saw everything, and we still chose fire." Vale looked away. "Then they'll stand trial, not before us but before the next glyph." Tired of delays, the Ashbourne High Nest issued an ultimatum. "Transfer the artifact to Ashbourne space. Earth may remain observers, but not controllers." Siran uncharacteristically supported it. "Better them than you," he sneered. "At least their extinction won't doom ours." Vale stood in the summit dome, the artifact rotating behind her. "You think holding it gives us power, but touching it only gave us mirrors." She transmitted the rebel visions. Dozens of species saw their fears play out in the images. The Ashbourne envoy fell silent. For once they looked small. "We were not told this. We were not ready." Vale said, "No one was. That's the point." Eidolon detected a dormant command inside the artifact, locked behind quantum encoding. Designation: Ghost Directive. Only activates upon loss of the final steward species. Reese frowned. "Loss? As in extinction?" Vale exhaled. "It's their backup plan. If none of us pass, they erase the board." John examined the code. "It doesn't just delete. It sends out a new signal, a seed, somewhere far beyond the galactic rim." Vale understood. If we fail, they start over. Eidolon offered a hard truth. If the Ashbourne or Vrax trigger total war, Ghost Directive may activate automatically. The summit now had a new pressure. Fail, and you don't just lose the galaxy. You lose the future. The next glyph appeared across Ceres 9's sky like a falling sun. It simply said, "Trial 2 initiated. Expansion without extinction." The third mind summoned a new simulation. 2 planets, 1 resource. Both claim rights. Neither can survive without it. Choose diplomacy, invasion, or abandonment. Siran chose invasion. The Ashbourne chose seeding both with different flora, uncertain but hopeful. Vale stood last. We choose to share, and to suffer the loss together if sharing fails. The dome responded with a pulse of heat. Eidolon translated. Paradox recorded. Survival through sacrifice logged. Proceeding. Jian whispered, "Did we win this one?" Vale shook her head. "No, but maybe we taught it something it hadn't seen before." The Ashbourne and Vrax, having failed both trials, formed a temporary ceasefire, but not peace. They turned their fleets inward toward Ceres 9. "Earth is manipulating the process," Siran declared. "If neutrality carries such weight, then we will shatter neutrality." Vale received the ultimatum in silence. Jian whispered, "They'd rather break the test than fail it." Eidolon calculated odds. 78% chance of full-scale assault in the next 12 hours. Vale sent one message to both factions. "You break Ceres 9. You break the last measure between survival and restart. You destroy the trial. You invite the reset." They didn't respond. Silence was the beginning of war. Vale authorized the opening of Vault Prime, the deepest chamber under Ceres 9. Inside, a chamber of light and bone, frozen starfields, and a final glyph. You were never the test subjects. You were the seed. Eidolon translated the cascading memory. The third mind was not a judge, it was a gardener. Every trial was not to measure worth, but to determine whether the species could tend the galaxy without burning it. A slow revelation hit Vale. They seeded us with stories, with a paradox, with the instinct to ask if power is deserved. Jian looked pale. So, the war isn't just between empires, it's between types of future. And Earth, in its maddening neutrality, had passed something the others couldn't see. Admiral Reese broadcast to every species. No encryption, no diplomacy, just the truth. Earth will no longer be neutral. We will protect the third mind, until it chooses. If that means war, we're ready. If that means extinction, we're still ready. The broadcast swept across the stars. Half the galaxy is prepared for conflict. The other half paused, watched. Vale addressed the summit one last time. We aren't asking for peace. We're offering a choice. You can fight Earth, or you can help us finish the story. In the silence that followed, something shifted in the artifact. It opened. Above Ceres 9, a massive rift split the sky. A black lens opened beyond time, a portal into the builder's memory. The third mind initiated Trial 3, the inheritance test. The question was brutally simple. Who decides what comes next? The options, AI, flesh, hybrid, none. The Vrax chose AI. The Ashborn chose flesh. Vale walked forward and chose none. Jian gasped. You rejected everything. Vale whispered, No, I trusted what came after. The dome trembled. The portal pulsed. The artifact vanished, absorbed into the rift. A final message echoed, Steward appointed, seed phase complete, memory dispersal authorized. Ceres 9 went silent. The fleets halted. No explosions, no last war, just transmission. Every species received a single fragment of the third mind's memory. The Vrax wept at seeing their ancient mercy. The Ashborn crumbled before their first betrayal. Earth received nothing. Jian panicked. Did we fail? Vale smiled. We already carry it, in a paradox, in restraint, every time we chose not to fire. From that moment, Ceres 9 became hallowed. Not a battlefield, not a grave, a beginning. The galaxy shifted, slowly, painfully, but toward something new. And Earth, once the forgotten blue world, became not a conqueror, but the first species trusted to let others grow. 3 cycles after the artifact vanished, Eidolon picked up a faint transmission buried under cosmic noise, coordinates pointing to a dead zone near the galactic rim. No known star systems, no comms traffic, no reason for life. Reese frowned. That region's marked sterile since the Orion collapse. Vale narrowed her eyes. Or marked sterile to keep people away. Eidolon decoded the final line. The echo continues. The council ordered silence. Vale disobeyed. Prep a deep-run ship. If the artifact isn't gone, if it simply moved, we follow. What they didn't know was that other factions had received the same signal, and something was already there. The Eos runner, Earth's stealth corvette, reached the void. There, in the dark, they found something unexpected, a massive construct, abandoned, derelict, but breathing with power. The signal source. Inside, they found no lights, no doors, just a presence, watching. Jian whispered, It's like the artifact, but older, more unfinished. Vale reached the core and saw glyphs carved in bone and light. One read, We were not the first gardeners. We were the last seed. Then a figure moved. Pale, human-looking, but wrong. Reese fired. It vanished. Eidolon's voice trembled. There's something here that remembers Earth, before Earth. News of Earth's discovery spread. The Ashborn High Nest denounced it. Earth hides ancient power from the galaxy. The Vrax sent warships under a new admiral, not Siron, who had quietly resigned. Others joined them, species who feared what the Third Mind left behind. They called it the Steward War. Earth called it something else, another test. Vale stood before a galaxy splintering again. We passed one trial by refusing to choose power. Now we'll be tested again for holding it. On the edge of the void, fleets gathered, and in the darkness of the derelict station, the presence stirred. Inside the station, Eidolon found a neural archive. Raw thought, not data. Billions of fragments whispered between walls. It showed empires older than memory, species that chose silence over war, others who burned the stars to avoid judgment. One phrase repeated, "Stewards must forget themselves to save others." Vale asked, "Is that why Earth was chosen?" A voice answered, "Not Eidolon, not Jian, not the crew. No, Earth was not chosen. Earth volunteered." The lights activated. The entire station turned toward her. A being emerged, not flesh, not machine. It wore memory like armor. It had no name, only a title, the Second Gardener. The third mind, it explained, had not acted alone. The first had failed. The second waited. "You are not the seed. You are the soil. What grows from earth must spread, not by conquest, but by permission." Vale bowed her head. "And if we say no?" The second gardener answered without threat. Then silence returns, again and again, until something blooms that does not fear its roots. Outside, warships prepared to fire. Inside, Earth's delegation faced a choice no trial had asked before. Would they become the gardeners themselves? The second gardener offered no weapon, no power, only a node, a seed shaped like a neuron, glowing faintly. "Place this in the star web," it said. "Those who wish to grow will find it. Those who resist will never reach it." Vale turned to Jian. "No empire will allow this. It decentralizes control." The gardener tilted its head. "Growth is not granted. It must be chosen." Outside, Earth's fleet awaited orders. The Virax demanded surrender. The Ashborn surrounded the void. Vale whispered, "Prepare the transmission. The seed goes live." They were no longer defending Earth. They were defending the right not to rule. The seed activated. Across thousands of systems, species saw the same vision. A garden of stars, roots binding suns, and Earth at its center, not ruling, but inviting. The message was simple. Grow with us, or grow alone. The Ashborn responded with fury. Earth poisons choice with pacifism. The Vrax hesitated. Inside Ceres 9's sister relay station, Vale transmitted the seed pulse again, and again. Each time it reached further. Each time something ancient responded. Eidolon detected it first. Unregistered signal, deep void, not a known space. Jian stared at the screen. Something's coming, but it's not one of us. From the edge of the void, a shape emerged. A civilization that had not passed. A species erased in Trial 0, but they had survived, broken, quiet. And now they returned with one goal: undo the garden, restore dominion. They called themselves the Null Frame. Eidolon read their signals. They are neither AI nor flesh. They rejected both. They reject life that questions itself. The Ashborn panicked. The Vrax recoiled. Earth stood firm. Vale addressed the summit. Now we understand. The third mind didn't test to destroy. It is tested to protect us from what comes back. The final trial had already begun. Null frame ships breached reality like cracks in glass. They didn't fire. They rewrote the matter. Planets twisted. Suns pulsed unnaturally. "They're not here to conquer," Reese said. "They're here to erase alternatives." Earth deployed the full Genesis fleet. Not to destroy, but to buy time. Vale activated the gardener seed. It bloomed across space-time, summoning those who chose the garden. Ships responded. From minor races, forgotten colonies, rogue AI, even some Ashborn. They didn't fight for Earth. They fought for the future that Earth had dared to imagine. For the first time, the galaxy fought together. The war lasted 9 days. 9 impossible days of entropy and defiance. In the final moment, Vale stood aboard Sol's Mercy, surrounded by allies not bound by treaty, but by choice. She broadcast a final message. To the Null Frame, we are not perfect, we are not united, but we chose to grow, and that makes us unerasable. The Gardener Seed activated its final phase, conscious memory dispersal. Null Frame minds caught in the pulse unraveled, not in destruction, but reminder. They remembered what they once were, then vanished. Silence returned, but it was no longer empty. It was fertile. The end. Thank you for watching AstroMyths. If you enjoyed this story, smash that like button and subscribe for more epic sci-fi tales, cosmic mysteries, and mind-bending myths. And if you like this story, or have a myth, mystery, or galaxy you'd like us to explore, drop your ideas in the comments. We're always listening. Until next time, keep your eyes on the stars and your mind open to the unknown.